Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the leaders that are made viable after the ban list. But let's just touch a bit on the ban list. So it will be effective 1st September for Asia and 6th September surprisingly for the English format. And what this means for the English format is that they have a completely new format which we did not have over here in Asia. So they'll be playing OPO 8 with the September's ban list. Just to catch things up for those who are not aware, the two new ban cards are RP Law Leader and the Ennis Lobby. I will not be talking about the specific ban list. So some of the leaders that will be made viable after the ban list, I'll just list a few. There's a lot over here. We have Zoro, Red Green Law, Red Black Sabo, NL, Nami, Marco, Crocodile, Purple Yellow Crocodile, Pudding, Perona, Carrot, Bonnie, Reiju, Moria, Whitebeard, Rebecca, RP Luffy. So I'll be slightly going through each of this leader and telling you why they might be able to make a comeback. So firstly, we have Zoro. Zoro now, I believe, will replace RP Law as the aggressive deck of the format. Previously, Red Purple Law being able to spam out a lot of characters and then tempoing the opponent. So I think right now Zoro does well because there's no RP Law. You can play the Animal Zoro deck, spam out your board, and then just outrush the opponent. So I think Zoro might make a comeback. Its worst matchup previously was RP Law and Lucci. Now losing one of them, I think Zoro might make a comeback. Again, similar to Zoro, Red Green Law, a bad matchup against the RP Law. Now the RP Law is gone, possibly coming back. The bad matchup for RG Law, as we all know, is Lucci. So one less bad matchup. RG Law might make a comeback. Next is Red Black Sabo. In the past few formats, Sabo wasn't doing well, mainly because we had Sakazuki and then we had Red Purple Law. These two decks specializes in bottom decking more than KO. So right now, bottom decking isn't as common as before. So we can expect Red Black Sabo to counter the meta, especially against the Lucci deck. Lucci focuses on KO, while Red Black Sabo prevents KO by reducing 1k power. So I think Red Black Sabo could be a viable rogue deck. And being black means you can run the unnerved Gecko Moria. So possibly Red Black Sabo being a viable leader in the next format. And Nell previously had a bad matchup against RP Law, but now that RP Law is gone, possibly might not go up a tier necessarily because of Zoro and Rick Greenlaw coming back into the format. So I think NL might still be where it is right now. Next is Nami. Nami, similar to NL, faces a bad matchup against the RP Law. However, it has a really good matchup against Lucci and Black Yellow Luffy. But again, RP Law is gone. Two new decks will be replacing it. Again, Zoro and Red Green Law. So Nami, similar to NL, won't necessarily go up to tier 1, possibly just staying where it is right now. Next would be Marco. Marco has been doing well, but not good enough, not tier 1 good enough. But with the ban list, I could see Marco doing well, as Marco typically is a slower deck. Against RP Law, it struggles because the RP Law will just spam out their character and then just rush you for game. So Marco, yeah, I think Marco could go up a tier here, possibly being the new control deck with KO and stuff. And again, RB Sabo might might be good just because of the heavy KO removal in the game. Next, we have Crocodile. Crocodile, Blue Crocodile. It dropped off in play mainly just because of Red Purple Law being a better tempo leader. Crocodile, yeah, you can play this all Sunday to retrieve back all your event. You don't have to worry about your all Sunday being bottom deck. Right now, if it's KO'd, you can add back an event. So I want to try Crocodile, especially with the new cross guild stuff. Next is Purple Yellow Crocodile. Previously, I mentioned Purple Yellow Crocodile is really slow. With the banning of RP Law, possibly it can come back, but you have to manage against Zoro and RG Law. Purple Yellow Crocodile, and Pudding, I think is falls into the same category of losing to rush decks. But the difference between the RP Law deck and Zoro and RG Law is that these Zoro and RG Law characters are smaller, so it might be easier to clear the characters compared to like mostly 5k characters or more. Next, we have Perona and Carrot. I will group these two decks together. Previously, why this deck doesn't do well is because most of their characters is 6k power. So it's easier for it to be removed using Gordon, Race Max and stuff to bottom deck, especially Carrot character. So I think these two decks might see a increased play, especially if we are expecting Zoro and Red Green Law to be in the format again. Carrot might have a bad matchup against Lucci, but that's just one bad matchup. Next is, of course, Reiju. I think Reiju goes up to tier 1.5 with the banning of RP Law. Reiju has all the tools to be a tier 1 meta deck. Mainly, you have draw power, you have searching, and you have bot spam, as well as their own Gecko Moria in Judge. So possibly Reiju might be a really popular deck. Next would be the return of Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria might be good, but not as good as Lucci, I think. Just bot recursion and cost reduction shenanigans, as well as Gecko Moria. 8 cost Gecko Moria. Yeah, Gecko Moria right now is just carrying all the black decks, and I'm surprised it wasn't touched by the ban list. Next is Whitebeard. Whitebeard suffers from being rushed, and with OPO9 coming, I think Whitebeard is going to be really good, especially with the Gold Roger. Previously, Rebecca has a bad matchup against the Red Purple Law just because of rush and bottom decking. Your Kuros is not safe, but right now, with the removal style being KO instead of bottom decking, I think this deck might stand a chance, especially seeing how easy it was to remove using RP Law's effect. Right now, it might be a little tougher, especially to remove your 4 cost or high character. So I think Rebecca might come back, especially if Zoro and Red Green Law comes back into the format. And then for my last deck I have here is Red Purple Luffy. Red Purple Luffy being a 6k base might be tough for Zoro and Red Green Law or most of the decks actually. Previously, because of RP Law, they can easily just drop you down to 2 life and then play Kid and Killer to push for games. So Red Purple Luffy might come back, especially, and again, of course, with the OPO9 support, I think RP Law might be a top contender. As I was editing this video, I noticed I didn't include a summary on all the leaders I mentioned and also left a couple of leaders that could be viable next format. Another thing to take note of is by viable, I don't mean that these decks will immediately be in tier 1, although some might be, but decks you might see more of compared to pre-ban lists. So here's the summary of all the leaders that I mentioned earlier. Two decks that I didn't mention were Ace and Bonnie. Bonnie being a slower deck, benefit from RP Law and Ennis Lobby banning. So Bonnie might be possibly in tier 2 or even tier 1, although she might still have problem against the blue decks as well as black decks. Another deck would be Ace. Similar problem was RP Law was too fast for Ace. Although Ace removes character efficiently, RP Law was able to bot spam faster than you can remove them. So in the new format, I don't think Yellow will be as good due to Blackbeard, which is why I decided to include him in the list. So that is all of the leaders that I feel might come back from the banning of Red Purple Law and Ennis Lobby. Let me know in the comments what you think of these decks and which deck you are interested to try out. I will be cooking a few lists myself and I'll be sharing them over on Twitter. So do consider following me on Twitter as well. And that is all. Drop a like, consider subscribing, share it to your friend, let your friends know that I made this video. And once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.